Get back to the ghetto where you came from. Margaret Wilson's diamond rings flashed as she snatched David Anderson's boarding pass. She ripped it in half, pieces fluttering down. Her Louboutin heel crushed the fragments underfoot. Smack. Her designer purse struck David's chest, sending his phone skittering across the gate floor. "Security!" she shrieked, pointing at the black man in jeans and hoodie. "This thug is trying to steal first-class seats." 50 passengers stopped breathing. Phones emerged from pockets. A teenager's live stream counter climbed. 847 viewers, 1,203, 2,891. David's weathered briefcase sat forgotten beside his feet. A small airline logo sticker caught the terminal lights. His Stanford hoodie hung loose over broad shoulders that had carried boardroom decisions worth billions. He smiled. Quietly. Dangerously. Have you ever witnessed a moment when revealing the truth would destroy everything? These real-life stories remind us that black stories often hide the most touching secrets behind ordinary faces. Margaret's voice cut through the terminal like broken glass. "I've been platinum for 15 years. I know exactly who belongs in first class." Her arms crossed tight against her Chanel blazer. The diamond tennis bracelet caught fluorescent lights as she blocked David's path to the gate. Her voice climbed higher with each word, drawing stares from business travelers clutching coffee cups. "People like you always try to sneak into first class with fake boarding passes." Jake Thompson, 17, thumb-swiped his phone to TikTok. The red recording dot pulsed. His caption typed itself. "Karen goes nuclear at airport." The view counter spun. 3,847, 6,203, 12,891. Gate agent Sarah Miller's fingers hovered over her keyboard. 23 years on the job. She'd seen discrimination before, but never this blatant. Her company manual said intervene professionally. Her gut said this would explode. David pulled his boarding pass from his jacket pocket. The paper showed clear black ink. Anderson D., Seat 2A, First Class. He held it steady, arm extended toward Margaret. "Ma'am, I believe there's been a misunderstanding." His voice carried the measured tone of boardroom negotiations. Yale, MBA confidence wrapped in street-smart patience, the kind of calm that made rivals nervous and investors confident. Margaret snatched the boarding pass. Her manicured nails left crescent marks in the paper as she examined it under the gate lights. "This is obviously fake." She waved it like evidence in a courtroom. "Anyone can print these at home. Security." Her Hermes bag hung from her shoulder, worth more than most people's monthly salary. Status symbols lined up like armor, Cartier watch, Louboutin shoes, Van Cleef earrings, each piece screaming wealth and entitlement. David adjusted his cufflinks. The small gesture seemed automatic, unconscious. The silver links caught the light, revealing tiny engraved airline wings. Most people would miss the detail completely. "Ma'am, I understand your concern about seat assignments." David's tone never shifted. Professional, measured, deadly patient. "Perhaps we can resolve this without involving security." Jake's phone buzzed with notifications. Comments flooded his live stream faster than he could read them. "This lady is insane." "Bro, this is getting viral. Someone needs to stop her." "Record everything." Margaret's face flushed red beneath her foundation. "Don't you dare tell me how to handle this situation. I'm calling my lawyer if this airline doesn't remove you immediately." She pulled out her iPhone, fingers stabbing at the screen. Her platinum status app glowed with elite badges and upgrade certificates. 15 years of loyalty rewards, first-class lounges, priority boarding, respect. "I demand to speak with a manager, now." Business traveler Robert Brown shifted uncomfortably 3 gates away. His wireless earbuds couldn't block Margaret's escalating volume. Other passengers turned their heads, some filming discreetly, others quickly looking away. David's phone buzzed against his chest. The text preview showed on his lock screen. Sir, quarterly results exceeded projections by 23%. Board meeting confirmed for 3 p.m. He silenced the phone without reading further. Travel blogger Emma Taylor recognized viral content when she saw it. Her fingers moved across her laptop keyboard, drafting the article in real time. Airport discrimination goes viral when privilege meets reality. The story would write itself. Margaret spotted Emma typing. Are you recording this? Good. Document how this airline allows criminals to impersonate first-class passengers. She turned back to David, pointing a manicured finger at his chest. I don't care what fake documents you show me. Security will sort this out when they see what you really are. David reached into his weathered leather briefcase. The bag looked out of place among the designer luggage scattered around the gate. Worn edges, scratched hardware, working man honest. Inside, folders organized with military precision, legal documents, financial reports, and something else. He pulled out a simple business card. White cardstock, navy blue lettering, nothing flashy. Miss Wilson, before security arrives, perhaps you'd like to reconsider your accusations. Margaret barely glanced at the card. I don't need to see fake business cards. Anyone with a printer can make those. Jake's live stream hit 50,000 viewers. The comments section exploded. Plot twist incoming. She's about to get owned. This man is too calm. Something's up. Why is he smiling? David's smile widened. Not cocky, not angry, something far more dangerous, patient. Sarah Miller watched from behind her gate podium. Her training said follow protocol. Her instincts said this man wasn't what he appeared. The way he stood, the quiet confidence, the expensive briefcase disguised as working-class leather. Margaret's phone rang. Her lawyer's office. Yes, I need immediate legal assistance. There's a situation at the airport involving fraud and... She paused, studying David's face. Something in his expression made her voice falter. David opened his briefcase wider. More documents became visible. Official letterhead, corporate seals, numbers with lots of zeros. David opened his briefcase wider. More documents became visible. Official letterhead, corporate seals, numbers with lots of zeros. Miss Wilson, he said quietly, I think you should take that call. Shift manager Tom Davis arrived at a half jog, his polyester uniform wrinkled from the sprint across 3 terminals. 26 years with the airline. He'd handled drunk passengers, medical emergencies, even a bomb threat in 09. But live-streamed discrimination? That was new territory. What seems to be the problem here? Tom's eyes swept the scene. Designer-dressed white woman, casually dressed black man, 50 phones recording. His management training kicked in, de-escalate, document, defer to policy. Margaret pounced. This man is attempting to board first class with fraudulent documentation. I demand immediate security intervention. Her voice carried the authority of someone accustomed to being obeyed. Country club committees, charity board meetings, spaces where her word became law. Tom studied David's boarding pass under the gate lights. The paper looked legitimate. Airline watermarks, proper barcodes. But appearances meant nothing in airport security. Sir, if there's any confusion about seating assignments, we can verify your ticket at customer service. The assumption hung unspoken in the terminal air. Margaret's Hermes bag versus David's hoodie. Status versus suspicion. Tom's unconscious bias tilted toward wealth and whiteness. David remained motionless. I'm happy to resolve this professionally. Jake's live stream exploded past 75,000 viewers. His phone overheated from processing the comments flooding his screen faster than humanly readable. The algorithm pushed his content to trending feeds across 3 time zones. Security to Gate 12, Security to Gate 12. The announcement echoed through the terminal's curved ceiling. Passengers at neighboring gates turned their heads. Some approached with phones raised. Others hurried past, avoiding the brewing controversy. Officers Mike Johnson and Lisa Williams responded within 90 seconds. Both carried the granite expressions of airport security veterans, post-9/11 training, terrorism alerts, suspicious passenger protocols. Margaret felt vindication surge through her chest. Officers, this individual is attempting to board first class illegally. I've documented everything. She held up her phone, recording at 4K resolution. Her platinum status meant airline loyalty. Her word meant credibility. Her skin color meant assumption of honesty. Mike Johnson examined David's identification. Texas driver's license, clean record. No outstanding warrants. The documents appeared legitimate, but protocol demanded verification. Sir, we need to step aside for additional verification procedures. David nodded calmly. Of course. Would you prefer to verify my identity through standard channels or executive protocols? The question seemed innocent, almost casual. But something in David's tone made Officer Williams pause. Executive protocols? That terminology belonged to corporate security briefings. Customer Service Manager Kevin Brown arrived, summoned by Tom's urgent radio call. Kevin's tablet displayed the passenger manifest in real time. Anderson, D-Seat 2A. Paid in full. No flags or alerts. But the crowd kept growing, and cameras kept recording. Ground Operations Chief Patricia Miller pushed through the gathering crowd, her radio crackling with updates from Terminal Control. Flight 447 showed a 27-minute delay. Passengers grew restless. Social media mentions spiked. What's the holdup here? Patricia's question carried supervisory weight. 15 years climbing airline corporate ladders. She knew crisis management meant controlling narratives before they controlled you. Margaret sensed support arriving. Thank God. Someone with authority. This man needs to be arrested for attempted fraud. Her confidence peaked. Multiple officials, security backup, documented evidence. The system would vindicate her platinum status and protect her first-class sanctuary. Jake's live stream hit 125,000 viewers. Comments scrolled like digital waterfalls. This is insane. Airport Karen final boss battle. Plot twist coming. I can feel it. Why is he so calm? Someone's about to get owned, travel blogger Emma Taylor typed furiously, crafting real-time updates for her 50,000 Twitter followers. Airport discrimination stories generated massive engagement. Her article preview already showed promising click-through metrics. Captain James Wilson emerged from the aircraft jetway, drawn by radio chatter about gate delays. 22 years flying commercial routes. He'd seen passenger disputes before, but never with this level of media attention. Margaret spotted the captain's stripes and felt ultimate vindication approaching. Captain! Thank you for coming. This passenger is attempting to board illegally. Captain Wilson studied the scene with pilot precision. Uniformed officers, management personnel, viral recording, corporate liability multiplying by the minute. David made a quiet phone call, speaking barely above a whisper. Yes, there's a situation at Gate 12. Handle it discreetly, but be prepared for full escalation. His tone carried boardroom authority disguised as casual conversation. The kind of call that moved corporate mountains while sounding like dinner reservations. Margaret's triumph felt complete. Security, management, captain, documentation. Her 15 years of loyalty would be rewarded. The system would protect her rightful place. I demand this individual be removed immediately and banned permanently from this airline. She pointed at David with theatrical authority. Her diamond rings caught the terminal lights like weapons. Status symbols transformed into ammunition. David closed his phone and smiled, the same quiet, dangerous smile from the opening moments, but now something had shifted. The calm before revelation. The pause before power revealed itself. Passenger John Anderson, no relation, stepped forward from the crowd. "Ma'am, this has gone entirely too far." His voice carried military authority. Marine Corps bearing. The kind of moral courage that spoke truth regardless of consequences. Mother Susan Davis covered her twins' ears, shielding them from the escalating confrontation. Her children stared wide-eyed at the adult drama unfolding in their safe airport space. Elderly veteran Robert Taylor leaned heavily on his walking cane, watching the younger generation's response to injustice. Korea, Vietnam, civil rights marches. He'd seen this before. "Son," he called to David, "you don't deserve this treatment." The crowd murmured agreement. Phones continued recording. Social media algorithms pushed the content toward viral infinity. Margaret felt the tide shifting but doubled down. "Don't let this crowd intimidate you into poor decision-making. I know fraud when I see it." David opened his briefcase once more. This time his movements carried ceremonial weight, like a lawyer presenting closing arguments, like a CEO revealing quarterly results. David opened his briefcase once more. This time his movements carried ceremonial weight, like a lawyer presenting closing arguments, like a CEO revealing quarterly results, like someone about to change everything. David's fingers moved with surgical precision. No rushing, no drama. The calm of someone who owned the room without anyone knowing it yet. He pulled out a leather document folder, navy blue, embossed gold lettering barely visible from distance. Official. Expensive. The kind of folder that contained life-changing information. From inside, he extracted a single business card. White cardstock, navy typography. Simple, elegant, devastating. He handed it to Security Officer Mike Johnson. Mike's face drained of color instantly. The card trembled in his fingers as he read the text once, twice, 3 times. His partner Lisa Williams leaned over to see. Her mouth fell open. David Anderson, Chief Executive Officer. Skyline Airways Corporation. The same airline logo that decorated every surface around them. The wings David wore on his cufflinks. The company whose first-class cabin Margaret was demanding to protect. "Oh my God," Officer Williams whispered. Shift manager Tom Davis grabbed the card from Mike's frozen hands. His 26 years of experience evaporated in 3 seconds. His face went white, then green, then something approaching purple. "Mr. Anderson, sir, I am so deeply, profoundly sorry." His voice cracked on every syllable. Career-ending sorry. Lawsuit preventing sorry. The kind of apology that meant lawless years of employment just became a memory. Customer Service Manager Kevin Brown recognized the name instantly. The signature on his paychecks. The face from quarterly company videos. The man who decided his salary, his benefits, his future. "Sir, this is absolutely unacceptable. I take full responsibility for this situation." Kevin's tablet slipped from shaking hands, clattering across the gate floor. His management training never covered how to handle discriminating against your CEO. Margaret's brain refused to process the information. The business card must be fake. Anyone could print cardstock. This couldn't be real. Reality didn't work this way. "That's impossible. You can't be..." Her voice lost its authority mid-sentence. The diamond-ringed finger that had pointed so accusingly now trembled against her Chanel blazer. Ground Operations Chief Patricia Miller's radio squawked with urgent messages from corporate headquarters. Someone had been monitoring social media. The live stream numbers, the viral hashtags, emergency protocols activated. "Mr. Anderson, sir, we've implemented immediate crisis management procedures. Legal is standing by." Patricia's 15 years of corporate climbing meant she recognized power structures instantly. And she'd just watched her company's discrimination policies get violated against the one person who could destroy everything. Captain James Wilson stepped forward, his military bearing intact despite the chaos. 22 years of flight experience meant recognizing chain of command. Even in civilian clothes, David carried unmistakable executive authority. "Mr. Anderson, I had no idea you were on my flight." The captain's salute was instinctive, professional, respectful. The gesture that transformed speculation into confirmation for every recording phone in the terminal. Margaret watched the salute in slow motion. Her 15 years of platinum status, her country club confidence, her assumption of superiority, everything crumbled like her torn boarding pass fragments. "Sir, welcome aboard," Captain Wilson continued. "I apologize for this completely unacceptable delay." Jake's live stream erupted past 200,000 viewers. The comments section moved too fast for human comprehension. "Plot twist of the century! He's the actual CEO! Karen just discriminated against her own airline's boss. This is better than Netflix. Screenshot this moment." Travel blogger Emma Taylor's fingers flew across her keyboard, rewriting her article in real time. "Airport Karen discriminates against airline CEO" would become her most viral piece ever. Book deals, speaking engagements, career-defining content. David remained perfectly calm. No gloating, no anger. The quiet power of someone accustomed to boardroom nuclear bombs disguised as afternoon conversations. "Thank you, Captain Wilson. Unfortunately, we have a more pressing situation to address first." He turned toward Margaret with the measured attention of quarterly board meetings, the look that decided billion-dollar acquisitions and executive terminations. "Miss Wilson, I believe we need to have a conversation." Margaret's mouth opened and closed without sound. Her Hermes bag suddenly felt heavy. Her diamond jewelry looked gaudy under terminal fluorescence. Her platinum status meant nothing to someone who owned the entire airline. Corporate staff materialized from nowhere. HR Director Linda Thompson emerged from an executive elevator, moving at sprint walking pace. Legal counsel Mark Davis connected via emergency video conference on Patricia Miller's tablet. "Sir, we've activated full crisis management protocols," Linda announced breathlessly. "Whatever you need, we're prepared to implement immediately." The crowd of recording passengers pressed closer. Phones captured every angle. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. The story spread across platforms faster than airport security could contain it. Elderly veteran Robert Taylor chuckled softly, leaning on his walking cane. "Son, I've seen a lot of injustice in my time." But watching justice reveal itself? That never gets old. Business traveler John Anderson shook his head in amazement. "Ma'am, you just discriminated against the person who signs everyone's paychecks here." Mother Susan Davis finally uncovered her twins' ears. This had become a teachable moment about assumptions, consequences, and the power of quiet dignity. Margaret's hands shook as reality crashed over her like freezing water. The man she'd called a thug owned the company. The ghetto comment had been directed at someone worth billions. Her 15 years of loyalty looked pathetic compared to his ownership stake. I didn't know. This is just a misunderstanding." Her voice came out as a whisper. The authority, the entitlement, the racist confidence had evaporated like morning fog. David smiled that same quiet, dangerous smile. But now everyone understood what it meant. Power revealing itself never needed to shout. "Miss Wilson, there's something else you should know." David opened the second compartment of his briefcase. Inside lay documents that would reshape everything Margaret thought she understood about power, ownership, and consequence. "You weren't just discriminating against a passenger, Ms. Wilson." His voice carried boardroom precision, the tone that announced quarterly earnings to Wall Street analysts, that terminated executives with surgical efficiency. You were discriminating against someone who owns 67% of this airline. The ownership documents emerged like evidence in a federal trial. SEC filings, stock certificates, legal papers with enough zeros to fund small nations. Skyline Airways Corporation, majority shareholder, Anderson Holdings, LLC. Margaret's Cartier watch felt suddenly heavy on her wrist. Her Van Cleef earrings seemed to burn against her skin. 15 years of platinum status versus $2.3 billion in controlling interest. The mathematics of power had shifted beyond comprehension. HR Director. Linda Thompson's phone buzzed with emergency alerts. Federal discrimination statutes. Title VII violations. Corporate liability assessments running in real time through legal algorithms. Sir, we're implementing immediate remediation protocols. Her voice carried the efficiency of someone watching their company's legal exposure multiply by millions with each passing second. David pulled out his tablet, swiping through financial reports with the casual expertise of someone who lived in spreadsheets and profit margins. Miss Wilson, let me share some relevant data points. His finger traced revenue figures that made Margaret's platinum spending look like pocket change. This airline generates $847 million annually. Our reputation drives market valuation of $4.2 billion. Public discrimination incidents have cost comparable companies 15 to 23% market value within 72 hours. The numbers hung in the terminal air like digital guillotines. Stock prices, federal fines, shareholder lawsuits. Corporate reputation measured in billions, destroyed in minutes. Federal Title VII violations carry penalties up to $300,000 per incident. With 47 witnesses and multiple recordings, this represents significant legal exposure. Margaret's face went ashen. Her lawyer husband handled real estate contracts, not federal discrimination law. This was beyond country club politics and charity board disputes. I was just following security protocols. Actually, you violated 8 specific company policies. David's fingers moved across his tablet screen, displaying internal corporate documentation. Section numbers, policy violations, compliance failures outlined with corporate precision. Customer Service Standards Protocol 3.2. Zero tolerance for passenger discrimination based on race, religion, or economic appearance. Linda Thompson winced. Her HR training covered these policies extensively. Margaret had violated nearly every anti-discrimination clause in the employee handbook. Professional Conduct Requirements Section 7.1. All passenger interactions must maintain dignity and respect regardless of personal assumptions. Legal counsel Mark Davis appeared on Patricia Miller's tablet screen via emergency video conference. His Harvard law degree and 15 years of corporate litigation experience showed in his grim expression. Mr. Anderson, we're prepared to implement full compliance protocols immediately, whatever remediation you require. David continued his methodical presentation. No anger, no emotion. Pure data-driven devastation. Public relations guidelines mandate immediate crisis response for viral discrimination incidents. Current social media metrics show 347,000 views across platforms, with 37% negative sentiment toward company brand. Jake's live stream had exploded beyond his wildest imagination. Corporate PR nightmares unfolding in real time. His phone overheated from processing the digital avalanche. Miss Wilson, you have 3 options. David's voice carried the finality of boardroom ultimatums, the kind of choices that ended careers and reshaped corporate policies. Option 1. Immediate suspension from all airline services pending full federal investigation into discriminatory practices. Margaret's hands shook against her designer purse. Suspension meant public humiliation. Federal investigation meant legal consequences beyond her comprehension. Option 2. Participate in mandatory 40-hour bias training program with civil rights organizations, followed by public apology and $25,000 donation to Minority Aviation Scholarship Fund. The financial penalty stung less than the public acknowledgement of wrongdoing. Her country club reputation, her social circle, her carefully constructed image of moral superiority. Option 3. Face federal prosecution for violation of passenger rights under Transportation Department regulations, plus potential civil litigation from affected parties. Legal counsel Mark Davis nodded grimly from the tablet screen. Sir, Option 3 carries potential criminal charges and unlimited civil liability. Margaret's 15 years of platinum loyalty crumbled under the weight of federal law and corporate liability. Her diamond rings caught terminal lights like handcuffs. Please, I have 3 children. My job. What will people think? David's expression never shifted. Boardroom poker face. The look that negotiated billion-dollar mergers without revealing weakness. This isn't about revenge, Ms. Wilson. It's about systematic change. He gestured toward the crowd of recording passengers. Dozens of phones, multiple live streams, viral content spreading across social platforms faster than corporate damage control could contain. Every passenger deserves dignity regardless of appearance, race, or assumed economic status. This company will lead by example. HR Director Linda Thompson pulled up implementation protocols on her tablet. Crisis management procedures designed for exactly this scenario. Sir, we're prepared to activate the Dignity in Travel Initiative immediately. Zero-tolerance policies, mandatory bias training, real-time monitoring systems. David nodded approvingly. Excellent. And Miss Wilson? Margaret looked up with desperate hope. Maybe mercy, maybe reduction in consequences. You discriminated against passengers before me. The pattern stops today. Security footage, complaint records, customer service reports. The data told stories of previous incidents, previous assumptions, previous discrimination disguised as platinum privilege. Captain James Wilson stepped forward, his military bearing intact despite the corporate chaos surrounding them. Mr. Anderson, sir, the aircraft is ready for departure when you are. We've implemented enhanced dignity protocols for all passengers. David closed his briefcase with the same methodical precision that had opened it. Documents secured, power demonstrated, justice served through corporate policy rather than personal revenge. Miss Wilson, I suggest you choose quickly. Federal investigators move efficiently when discrimination evidence is this well documented. Margaret's voice came out as a broken whisper. I choose option 2. The admission echoed through the terminal like a confession, recorded on dozens of phones, live streamed to hundreds of thousands of viewers, viral content that would follow her forever. Excellent choice. Linda will coordinate your training schedule. David stood with quiet authority. The same calm that had faced discrimination now orchestrated systematic change. Power revealed not through violence or vindictiveness, but through measured corporate precision. The crowd began to disperse, but phones kept recording. This story would spread across social platforms for weeks, months, years. Margaret Wilson had discriminated against the wrong passenger, and David Anderson had just transformed corporate policy through the power of ownership, data, and quiet moral authority. 3 weeks later, Margaret's consequences rippled through multiple layers of her carefully constructed life. Her suspension from Skyline Airways became permanent. No first-class upgrades, no platinum lounges, no priority boarding. 15 years of loyalty terminated with a single email marked violation of federal anti-discrimination policies. But that was just the beginning. Clearwater Financial Group received the viral video link on a Monday morning. By Tuesday afternoon, Margaret's corner office had been cleared. 23 years of corporate ladder climbing ended with an HR meeting lasting exactly 11 minutes. Corporate image incompatible with company values, her termination letter read. Her country club membership faced emergency review. The West Shore Women's League removed her from the charity auction committee. Social circles that had welcomed her platinum status suddenly found scheduling conflicts when she called. The $25,000 civil rights donation came from her personal investment account. Stock options liquidated. Retirement contributions withdrawn with penalties. The money funded aviation scholarships for underrepresented students at 3 historically black universities. Margaret's 40-hour bias training began at the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute. 8 5-hour sessions with Dr. Sarah Johnson, a professor who specialized in corporate discrimination rehabilitation. Bias isn't evil intent, Doctor, Johnson explained during Margaret's first session. It's unconscious pattern recognition that creates assumptions about people based on appearance, race, or class. Margaret sat uncomfortable in metal folding chairs designed for learning, not luxury. No platinum status here, no special treatment. Just hard truths about psychological patterns she'd never examined. Meanwhile, David's systematic changes transformed Skyline Airways from the inside out. The Dignity in Travel initiative launched with $5.2 million in dedicated funding. Every customer-facing employee, 12,847 people across North America, completed mandatory bias awareness training within 90 days. New hiring practices prioritized cultural competency alongside technical qualifications. Promotion requirements included successful completion of advanced diversity education. Performance evaluations measured inclusion metrics with the same weight as sales targets. Technology solutions emerged from corporate innovation labs. The Dignity Watch app allowed passengers to report discriminatory treatment in real time. Anonymous submissions triggered immediate management review and response protocols. AI-powered analysis monitored customer complaints for patterns suggesting bias. Monthly reports tracked discrimination incidents across all airport locations, with data transparency published quarterly on the company website. Zero tolerance meant zero exceptions. 3 gate agents, 2 security contractors, and 1 shift manager lost employment within the first month, not for malicious intent, but for unconscious bias that violated newly clarified standards. Employee response surprised corporate leadership. Instead of resistance, staff embraced the clarity. Clear policies meant confident decision-making. Defined standards eliminated gray areas and individual interpretation. Customer satisfaction scores improved by 34% among minority passengers within 60 days. Social media sentiment shifted from crisis management to industry leadership. Number sign dignity. Matters became a positive brand association instead of damage control. David's leadership approach focused on education over punishment. Corporate town halls addressed bias honestly, without corporate speak or legal evasiveness. Discrimination hurts our passengers, our employees, and our bottom line, he told 847 managers during a virtual company meeting. We're not just changing policies. We're changing culture. The aviation industry watched Skyline's transformation with mixture of admiration and concern. Progressive policies attracted new customers but worried traditionalist stakeholders. Stock price volatility reflected market uncertainty about social justice initiatives affecting quarterly profits. 3 months post-incident, financial results validated David's approach. Revenue increased 8.7% year-over-year. New customer acquisition rose 23% in previously underserved demographic segments. Employee retention improved across all categories. Margaret's story became a case study in business schools nationwide. Harvard Business Review published The Cost of Unconscious Bias When Discrimination Meets Corporate Leadership. Stanford's Graduate School of Business added her incident to required curriculum about corporate crisis management. Her public apology, posted on Skyline Airways' website, received 2.3 million views within 48 hours. My actions at Dallas International Airport violated every principle of dignity and respect I claim to value, Margaret's statement read. I allowed unconscious bias to drive conscious discrimination. I'm committed to learning, growing, and ensuring this never happens again. The apology felt genuine because her consequences were real. No corporate lawyers softening language. No public relations firms crafting sympathy angles. Just accountability wrapped in humble acknowledgement. 6 months later, Margaret completed her bias training certification. Dr. Johnson's final evaluation noted significant progress in recognizing unconscious patterns and developing intervention strategies. Margaret began volunteering with the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute, leading corporate bias workshops for executives who'd made similar mistakes. Her story became a teaching tool rather than just a cautionary tale. I thought my platinum status meant something, she told a room of C-suite executives during her first presentation. But true status comes from treating every person with dignity, regardless of their appearance or your assumptions. The workshops generated waiting lists. Executives recognized the liability their own unconscious biases created. Margaret's experience provided concrete examples of consequences that extended far beyond viral embarrassment. David established the Anderson Aviation Scholarship Program with $2 million in personal funding. 43 students received full college funding for aviation careers. The first graduating class would enter the industry with built-in bias awareness and commitment to inclusive practices. Skyline Airways became the first major airline to achieve federal certification for discrimination prevention programs. The Transportation Department's Dignity in Travel seal appeared on every aircraft, marketing material, and corporate communication. Other airlines adopted similar policies. United launched Respect at 30,000 feet. American Airlines introduced Dignity Departure Protocols. Delta developed Inclusive Skies Initiative. Industry-wide change stemmed from one moment of viral discrimination and one executive's decision to transform crisis into systematic reform. Jake Thompson's original TikTok video reached 4.7 million views. His follow-up content tracked Skyline's policy changes and Margaret's rehabilitation journey. Social media platforms featured his documentation of corporate accountability in action. Travel blogger Emma Taylor's article series, From Discrimination to Dignity, won the Aviation Journalism Award for social impact reporting. Her book deal advanced the conversation about bias in travel industry customer service. The incident's legacy transcended viral entertainment. Federal transportation regulations adopted elements of Skyline's dignity in travel protocols. Congressional hearings examined discrimination in commercial aviation. Policy changes protected passengers across all airlines, not just David's company. Margaret's transformation felt genuine because her consequences demanded authentic change. No shortcuts, no privilege protecting her from accountability. Real learning replacing performative apology. David's leadership demonstrated that power wielded wisely created systematic change lasting beyond individual moments. Corporate policy became social justice tool when executives chose education over retaliation. The airport gate where everything began now featured a plaque. Dignity in travel begins with every interaction. 47 words that reminded staff and passengers alike. Assumptions have consequences, and change starts with courage to confront bias honestly. 2 years after the viral incident, David Anderson's leadership philosophy had reshaped more than airline policy. His measured response to discrimination became a Harvard Business School case study taught across 3 continents. Corporate executives flew to Atlanta specifically to observe Skyline Airways training programs. The Dignity in Travel initiative generated $847,000 in consulting revenue as other companies licensed their bias prevention protocols. David's speaking fees reached $75,000 per engagement. Fortune 500 CEOs wanted to understand how he'd transformed viral crisis into competitive advantage. His TED Talk, The Power of Measured Response accumulated 3.2 million views within 6 months. But numbers told only part of the story. Margaret Wilson stood before a conference room filled with airline executives in Phoenix, sharing her transformation journey for the 47th time. Her story had evolved from shame-filled confession to powerful teaching tool. I spent 15 years believing platinum status gave me authority over other passengers, she told the assembled leaders. One conversation with Dr. Johnson changed everything I thought I knew about unconscious bias. Her workshops now commanded $15,000 per session. Corporate accountability through authentic rehabilitation rather than public relations damage control. Companies discovered that genuine change created stronger brand loyalty than performative apologies. Margaret's children, initially devastated by their mother's viral infamy, now spoke proudly about her commitment to education and growth. Her teenage daughter volunteered with the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute. Her twin sons participated in school diversity programs. Family transformation rippled outward into community change. Jake Thompson graduated high school with a full scholarship to study digital journalism at Northwestern University. His documentation of corporate accountability in action had attracted admissions officers seeking students who understood social media's power to drive systematic change. His follow-up series, From Viral to Victory, tracked how other discrimination incidents led to policy reforms across industries. Restaurant chains, retail corporations, housing agencies. His platform became a resource for victims seeking justice through strategic documentation. Travel blogger Emma Taylor's book, Dignity at 30,000 Feet, How One Airport Incident Changed Aviation Forever, reached bestseller status in business and social justice categories. Speaking engagements, documentary options, academic appointments. Her success demonstrated how journalism committed to truth-telling rather than clickbait entertainment could build lasting careers while driving social progress. The Anderson Aviation Scholarship Program had graduated 127 students into airline careers. Pilots, mechanics, air traffic controllers, customer service managers. Each graduate carried bias awareness training into their professional roles. Industry diversity statistics showed measurable improvement. Minority representation in aviation leadership increased 34% across participating airlines. Customer satisfaction scores among underrepresented passengers reached all-time highs. David's personal legacy transcended corporate metrics. His decision to choose education over retaliation had inspired systematic change reaching far beyond one airline's policies. Federal transportation regulations now required anti-discrimination training for all customer-facing aviation employees. The dignity in travel protocols became industry standard rather than competitive advantage. Congressional testimony from discrimination victims led to expanded passenger rights legislation, legal recourse for bias-based mistreatment, financial penalties for companies failing to address systemic problems. David's approach proved that individual leaders could catalyze social justice through strategic use of corporate power. Margaret's rehabilitation journey inspired similar programs across multiple industries. Corporate bias training evolved from legal compliance checkbox to genuine cultural transformation tool. Psychology research validated her experience. Unconscious bias could be recognized, interrupted, and redirected through proper education and accountability structures. Change was possible when consequences demanded authentic growth. The original viral video remained online as historical documentation. Comments sections evolved from outrage and entertainment to educational discussion about bias recognition and intervention strategies. Social media algorithms had initially promoted the content for engagement and advertising revenue. Over time, the platforms recognized its educational value and featured it in bias awareness curricula. Technology companies developed discrimination reporting apps based on Skyline's Dignity Watch model. Real-time bias incident tracking became standard customer service protocol across industries. David's quiet leadership style influenced a generation of executives facing social justice challenges. Measured response over reactive defensiveness. Data-driven solutions over emotional retaliation. Systematic change over individual punishment. His example demonstrated that true power meant using authority to create lasting positive impact rather than temporary personal satisfaction. These touching stories of transformation reminded viewers that real-life stories often began with moments of crisis that revealed character. David's grace under pressure. Margaret's willingness to learn and grow. Jake's commitment to documentation and justice. Black stories in corporate America carried special weight when they demonstrated excellence, dignity, and strategic thinking under discriminatory pressure. David's leadership provided representation that inspired other minority executives facing similar challenges. The incident's legacy lived in policy changes protecting millions of passengers. Bias training programs educating thousands of employees. Scholarship opportunities creating more inclusive industries. Individual moments of courage could reshape systems when leaders chose wisdom over revenge. Have you witnessed discrimination in travel, workplace, or public spaces? Your voice matters in creating accountability. Document everything. Photos, videos, witness contact information. Evidence drives justice more effectively than outrage alone. Report strategically. Contact company leadership, regulatory agencies, and civil rights organizations. Multiple pressure points create faster response. Support victims. Amplify their voices without speaking over them. Offer to serve as witnesses. Challenge bias in your own circles. Demand systematic change. Push for training programs, policy reforms, and accountability measures. Individual consequences matter less than lasting cultural transformation. Lead by example. Whether you're managing teams, serving customers, or raising families, your choices about dignity and respect ripple outward into community change. Share your stories of overcoming bias in the comments below. Tag someone who handles conflict with grace and wisdom. Screenshot your favorite moment from this story and post it with #DignityMatters. Subscribe and hit notifications to see more life stories that prove ordinary people can create extraordinary change through courage, documentation, and strategic action. When you witness discrimination, will you be a silent bystander or an active ally? The choice you make defines not just your character, but the kind of world we're building together. These real-life stories remind us that change starts with courage, the courage to speak up, stand up, and step up when it matters most. Your voice, your vote, your choice. Make it count.